Hey y'all, in this lesson we are going to analyze linear equations of the form y equals mx plus b. Our I can statements are, I can graph a line from an equation in the form y equals mx plus b, and I can write an equation that represents the given graph of a line. Previously we looked at y equals mx, so we're adding this additional part of a plus b. Much like how we found the slope to write equations for proportional relationships, we will find the slope to write an equation for any linear relationship. However, we must also incorporate the y-intercept since it will not be 0 in these relationships. So again, the y-intercept is always 0 in a proportional relationship, but we are going to look at non-proportional relationships. First example, writing an equation from a graph. This graph represents a saltwater solution that has been cooled to -6 degrees. During an experiment, the mixture is heated at a steady rate. Write an equation to represent the temperature y after x number of minutes. So again, we want to identify the slope, and we can see that is identified for us. The rise over the run is up 6 over 3, so 6 over 3. And when we divide that out, we see that the slope is 2. So we can start by writing our equation with y equals 2x. Now that equation would work if our starting point was 0. But the starting point of this graph is -6. So how does 0 go to -6? We need to subtract 6. So that is what that additional portion we have here. Our equation for this graph is y equals 2x minus 6. This equation is in what we call slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where m, the slope, is 2, and b, the y-intercept, is -6. So we use the slope, we use the y-intercept, and we can write an equation. Our second example is going to deal with graphing a linear equation. So if we are given to graph y equals -4x plus 3. Step 1, the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 3. So we will put a point at 0, 3. Step 2, the slope is -4, or remember, a whole number can be written as a fraction over 1, so -4 over 1. This means the line will go down 4 and right 1. So down 4 from +3 is -1, and right 1 from 0 is 1. So this puts a point at 1, -1. You can repeat this step as many times as you'd like, in this case moving down 4 and right 1. Our graph does not allow the space for that, and you do only need 2 points to graph a line. So step 3, draw a line through the points. You have graphed this equation. Here is a couple problems for you to try. What is an equation for the line shown? Remember to identify the slope and the y-intercept, and graph the line with the equation of y equals 1/3 x minus 5. What is the slope and what is the y-intercept? Try these just like examples 1 and 2. Our final example, we will look at a word problem. So the middle school student council is organizing a dance and has $500 to pay for a DJ. DJ Dave will charge $200 for a setup fee in the first hour, or $425 for a setup fee and 4 hours. How can the student council determine whether they can afford to have DJ Dave play for 5 hours? So we need to figure out what is the setup fee and his cost per hour so that we can figure out at 5 hours what he would be charging. So, step 1. Plot the total costs for DJ Dave for 1 hour and 4 hours. So at 1 hour, he will do it for $200, and at 4 hours for $425. So these are the 2 points on the graph. We draw a line to connect those points, showing the relationship between time and cost. We will find the initial value, or y-intercept, and the rate of change, or slope. Slope is found again by looking from one point to the next. We see that when we increase 3 hours from 1 to 4, we increase $225. This means that we take 225 and divide by 3 to find that we are increasing $75 per hour. So our slope is 75. We can then take our 1 hour point at 200 and subtract $75 to get the exact value at 0 hours, or the setup fee. This is our y-intercept at 125. Our second step, we can now write an equation to represent the total cost for any number of hours. So we have y equals the slope times x plus the y-intercept. So y equals 75x plus 125. We will now take this equation and find the total cost for 5 hours to determine if the student council can afford DJ Dave. Remember, they have $500 to spend on the DJ. So we plug in 5 for the hours for x, multiply 75 and 5, and add 375 and 125. We get the cost is 500. So the total cost is 500. So the student council can afford DJ Dave. He maxes out their budget. Here is one more problem for you to try writing an equation. Write a linear equation in slope-intercept form for the graph shown. Identify the y-intercept, then identify the slope, and finally fill in the boxes to write your equation. Y equals the slope x plus the y-intercept. Our summary is quite simple. The equation of a line that represents a non-proportional relationship can be written in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope of the line and b is the y-intercept. So it's called slope-intercept form because we use the slope and the y-intercept. The slope is m, the y-intercept is b. Your next steps are to submit the 3.5 notes, complete the build 3.5, take your 3.5 mastery check, and then continue on to the next lesson. Good luck.